So welcome back, everyone. Jack here. I am interviewing Mather Wiswall, the co-founder of the United Grid League, who will be bringing the big show to Lakeland June 20th to the RP Funding Center. Welcome, Mather.
Well, thank you very much. Excited to be here.
So, for those folks who are not familiar with Grid League, tell us a little bit about the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. We like to say that we were born from CrossFit. We're actually very different than CrossFit. We were born from it. We take a lot of what makes CrossFit great, which is high athletic performance, combine it with other great sports like gymnastics, Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, and strongman, and create a team-based, race-based game out of it. So there's two teams going head-to-head in a match. Each team is made up of half men, half women, coming from the sports that I just mentioned. And they all have their own specialties in how they perform these races that each team is trying to complete as fast as possible and beat the other team. So a match is a lot of fun. It's designed to be exciting to watch. These races are really short and fast, and they're head to head. And there's a lot of incredible athletic performance, which is a big part of it. And you mentioned in the preamble, the medicine ball handstand walk is one of our fan favorites. And then lots of ring work, really heavy lifting, all done as fast as possible and for time. So it's super exciting and really impressive to watch.
And one thing from watching the video that I walked away with was all shapes, all sizes. So you've got somebody like Hannah Bissett,
Mhm.
4'6", 100 pounds. Zayn Zofran, I hope I got his name right, because he's 5'11" and 240 pounds. I want to make sure I don't insult him. So all shapes and all sizes, all specialties, kind of going out there and racing side by side.
Yeah, that's one of the coolest parts of the sport. Hannah is one of our smallest players, and some of our biggest are over 300 pounds, big giant strongmen, and everything in between. And the arrangement of how head coaches use such a variety of skill sets and players in strategically executing the races as fast as possible, which are made up of heavy elements or bodyweight elements, is really where the intrigue around the sport comes from because it's very much like football and how you strategize football with plays and things like that. You have plays set up for how you want to run the races the fastest that you possibly can. And of course, just like football plays, the plan always breaks down and you have to have backup plans and things like that. And that's part of the drama of high speed, high stakes racing. So yeah, what you described is a really cool component of it and relates it back to traditional team sports like football, very closely.
So there was sort of a kettlebell jerk component that I was watching,
Mhm.
and the one team seemed to have a kettlebell specialist,
Mhm.
and while the others were sort of swapping between, and so that's the strategy part that you were talking about.
Yeah.
That okay, yeah, it was fascinating watching it because coming in from a traditional sports background, this was, I mean, you could tell there was strategy. And again, once again, like a first timer watching, Australian rules football or something like that. You know there's strategy. You don't quite know, but you can appreciate even from just a glimpse.
Yeah, it's like anything. Well, we designed it to be very simple to watch. So the goal of every race is to get over the finish line first. So you know if a team's ahead, they're winning. If they're farther down the grid, they're winning. And if they're not as far down the grid, then they're behind. So it's very simple to follow, but how teams execute the races the fastest, there's endless nuance on how to make that happen. And that's where the in-depth strategy really comes in. So you can be a layman and not know how the strategy or even the rules really work and still kind of have an idea of where teams are, who's winning, who's losing, and of course, when it's a close race towards the end, it's very exciting because, there's head to head and teams are freaking out and things like that. So yeah, that's what makes it fun is it's very simple to follow, but there's in-depth strategy for those that really get into it.
And completely co-ed. So there are times that there are men and women competing on the grid at the same time, which is a completely different wrinkle. No other sport has that.
Yeah, not just on the grid at the same time, but head to head against each other sometimes. And that does create a whole new dynamic of interest that doesn't exist anywhere else in sports. We have female head coaches, we have men and women captains. And that dynamic of men and women together on the same team leads to a whole different way of leadership and communication that doesn't really exist in other sports and is just one of the really cool dimensions of it that makes it fun to watch.
So I'm gonna let you sort of brag a little bit here. So as the co-founder, one of the things that you've sort of circled in on, and when I was reading it, I have to say I agree, is all of our sports, all of our major sports are 100 years old.
Mhm. That's right.
Um, and so this is really the one of the most successful new wrinkles in what is going to be a new generation of how folks take in athletic endeavors.
Right. So one of our thesis is, you know, sports were designed and created before TVs, before radios, before any kind of social media, before modern consumption of any kind. And they've really been adapted for that very effectively, but they've been adapted. We've kind of reshaped sport design with modern consumption in mind. So it's social media friendly, it's short attention span friendly, it's media first and story first. And so it was almost like if you were going to take a redesign of sports completely from the ground up in the modern era, how would you do it? And that's really kind of how we thought about it. And so while we're absent of all the history and the generations of following and the regional pride of traditional team sports, we've really been able to leverage everything we know about modern sport consumption and redesign a sport that from the ground up meets those kind of objectives and those goals in a very different way. And that's really how we've been able to gain traction.
I was gonna say because you can, I mean, you can enjoy this from the standpoint of being in the stadium, watching the folks there. A live stream, like I said, watching on YouTube, I felt like I was in the facility, or even the short clips that now I've seen on social media. You cannot stop being in awe of the athletic prowess of the folks that are out there on the field, which is something different than, say, I mean, baseball, right? So you've got just a swing and a ball and it's gone. And that clip is similar to every other clip of that you've ever seen. Every one of these moments is truly individual to that athlete at the time in Gridley.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% was designed to be entertaining from the short clip on social media, like you said, really impressive things happening really fast with high intensity and high stakes, all the way up to the in-person experience. And we do prioritize the digital consumption because that's how we get broader reach, and viral clips is how we've been able to grow, like you said. But they're really just a microcosm of the in-person experience. Everything that you feel and every reason that videos go viral of our sport translates into a better in-person experience when you actually see it in person. And so, just because it performs really well and digitally is really a good example of why it's so fun to watch in person. So ultimately, while we want to grow through digital, the in-person experience will be the anchor, just like any other true sport as we grow.
And you have a special connection to Polk County, and the Grid League does. Tell us a little bit about that history between Grid League and Lakeland in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been CrossFitting since 2010. Started out in Philadelphia, moved down here in 2014. Since 2014, I've been a very active member in the CrossFit community in Florida. And Polk County, Lakeland has been a huge part of the Florida CrossFit scene. Anita Goddard and her competition for several years, Central Florida Throwdown, I think it was called. I've been
Oh
there many
yeah.
times. Most anybody that's been a CrossFitter in Florida has been there at some point. And then, of course, one of our biggest sponsors, a close friend, and one of the backbones behind the Florida CrossFit community is Valor Fitness and Jim and Jackie Vanderbleek, and they have a facility there in Lakeland. So that connection is a huge one there. So I've spent a lot of time in Lakeland personally. Know a lot of other people in my community that have too, and we're really excited to bring things back to somebody that's been such a big supporter or an area that's been such a big supporter of the community of CrossFit and Grid League in Florida and well beyond.
So just so everyone make sure that they come out and see it. It will be at the RP Funding Center Saturday, June 20th. Gates open bright and early, 9 a.m. First match takes place at 9:45. So there's a warm-up session or something before that.
Yeah, so the teams are there. They're warming up. They're getting ready to compete. It's kind of fun to see them, getting their last strategy down and things like that. Then we have a bunch of vendors there, so you can try new products. You can try some new uh, sponsor or sorry, uh, supplements, supplements, and check out some clothes and things like that. Um, there are like fun activities for kids and things if they want to do that, and it'll be a lot of fun throughout the day. We'll have 4 matches through the day, and some of the local teams, the Brigade, the Tampa Bay
Mm-hmm.
Brigade, will be playing there, and then the Fort Lauderdale Lions has about half of them are from Orlando.
Okay.
So we'll have some locals there. So Tampa Bay plays, I believe, at 7 p.m., 6 p.m.
Yeah.
maybe.
6:30 we have it.
6:30.
So
Yep, that's right. Sorry. So that'll be a great one for any locals, and yeah, it's going to be an awesome day.
and each match takes roughly how long?
About an hour and a half, depending on how many stoppages, but it's shorter than a traditional team sport. But again, it's designed to be high impact and lots of fun through the whole time.
And this is one of 4 stops, and then it's on to the playoff bracket.
Correct. We have 4 regular season events, and the top seeds from the regular season move on to the championship event, which we are coming back to Lakeland for the championship in October.
Well, fantastic. We look forward to seeing you then.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you, and thanks so much for talking.
Thanks for coming on. Once again, it's the United Grid League stop June 20th at the RP Funding Center. Get your tickets, come on out and see some great new sport action.